Apple released its Space Black M3 Max MacBook Pro 3 months ago. Let's revisit it and see what was pure hype and what's actually scary fast. Welcome everybody, welcome to AppleInsider. It is Andrew here. By the way, if you guys want to grab some of your own merch, there's a link for some down below this video. There's also some exclusively designed by Basic Apple Guy for AppleInsider that are absolutely amazing. So grab those if you're interested. But otherwise, around 3 months ago, I made the decision to upgrade my M2 Max MacBook Pro to the M3 Max MacBook Pro. Now that I've had an extended period of time with this machine, let's go ahead and revisit it and see what actually changed and how it holds up to my daily workload. The 14 and 6-inch MacBook Pros come in M3 Pro and M3 Max configurations, and of course here I am looking at the 16-inch M3 Max version. My specific model is outfitted with a 16-core CPU, a 40-core GPU, and 64 gigs of unified memory. A maxed out 16-inch M3 MacBook Pro can be configured with up to a 16-core CPU, which is up from 12, and up to a 40-core GPU, which again is up from 38, and up to 128 gigs of memory, which it previously capped out at 96. The M3 version has the same port configuration as the M2, with a MagSafe 3 port, 2 Thunderbolt slots on the left, and an SDXC card reader, an additional Thunderbolt port, and an HDMI port located down the right. It supports Bluetooth 5.3 and is rocking Wi-Fi 6E. The display is a 16.2-inch Liquid Retina XDR display with 600 nits of standard brightness and variable ProMotion refresh rate up to 120 Hz. The new version also comes in this lovely space black color, though you're not going to get that on the base version with just the M3 inside. Hey, I gotta interject for just a moment to thank our sponsor for this video, MacPaw and CleanMyMac X. It's time to keep an eye on your Mac's health. Junk files, malicious apps, and hung processes can slow down even the latest and most powerful Macs. Maintaining your Apple machine's health, whether old or new, is essential to smooth macOS performance. CleanMyMac X is an all-in-one Mac maintenance tool that takes care of old junk, faulty apps, and malware in an efficient, aesthetically pleasing, and hassle-free way. Using the app's menu, you can monitor your Mac's health, CPU load, and more. With nearly 30 million downloads and 15 years of expertise, this app is a must-try for any Mac user. Make sure you run CleanMyMac X to ensure that your Mac is always in tip-top condition. As Apple continues to pack Macs with innovative new features, CleanMyMac X is here to ensure that your hardware is running at peak performance so that you can enjoy a seamless macOS experience. Exclusive to AppleInsider watchers, you can grab a 5% discount for CleanMyMac X down below in the description. Now, let's get back to that other coverage. Using the M3 Max MacBook Pro is an absolute delight. It feels like a Mac in its absolute truest form. Opening apps is near instant. Safari is fluid and smooth, and despite having more than 50 tabs in Safari and a dozen apps running, my Mac never seems to falter. Video exports are as fast as they've ever been. Exporting a 14-minute 4K video takes just less than a few minutes. Now don't get me wrong, the M2 Max was already an exceptional chip. It's not like I had slow export times before, but like many aspects of this Mac, the M3 Max is just a little bit better. The display got a boost this time around, increasing from 500 to 600 nits of typical brightness. I work in a lot of well-lit environments, including just outdoors, and I'll take any increase in brightness to combat that sunlight. This is absolutely a plus, and again, it's just a little bit better than it was before. Personally, 64 gigs was just fine in my last MacBook Pro, so I opted again for 64 gigs here. Apple's memory prices are pretty exorbitant, so I tried to save a little money by not going all the way up to 128 gigs. If you wanted to, you could max out the performance there, just again, a little bit better than it was the last time around, but for me, it was the same experience, sticking with the 64 gigs of unified memory. The new Space Black finish available on the M3 Pro and the M3 Max variants is also striking. To me, this is definitely better than the Space Gray version. It's not a massive difference. It's a little better, but I really think it is more striking aesthetically, and importantly, after 3 months of daily use, I've also noticed no signs of that space black finish fading away in any areas, no matter where my palms are resting or even around the ports, which was especially problematic on the midnight MacBook Airs. Honestly, I don't feel constrained at all by the performance of this Mac. At this point, it feels more like the technology working in tandem with my Mac that's the bottleneck. For example, loading a web page is just waiting on the internet to load that content versus anything that the Mac has to do with it. Apple has the latest Wi-Fi 6E and my home internet is fast, but that still is the bottleneck to actually getting content to appear. Same thing with the SDXC card reader. It's a UHS 2 card reader and SD is already not the fastest medium. I'm just waiting for things to transfer over, which is a lot slower than if I was doing them through a Thunderbolt CF Express card reader. SD is just not the quickest thing out there. To be fair though, Apple did even underclock this. It's a UHS 2 card reader, which means it should go all up to 312 megabytes per second, but Apple actually caps this at 250, so it's even slower than it probably could be. One thing that really didn't change though was battery life. Apple is still promising about 15 hours of web surfing time or 22 hours of video playback. Personally, it's going to get me through a 6 to 8 hour workday without issue, though it's going to depend how hard I'm hitting the machine. Depending on my workflow, those numbers can fluctuate a little bit up or down, but I would say in general, I probably do get about 20 to 30 minutes more usage time out of this new MacBook Pro than my old one. Now, is it just because it's a brand new machine versus a year-old machine? Is it because render times in general are faster, so I'm waiting around less? I don't know, but to me, again, it just seems at least a little bit better. The one thing you can't deny though is that the M series chip is best in class. I have no difference in performance when I'm running on battery versus when I'm plugged in, and that's a huge differentiator against the comparable Windows PCs that I've been reviewing. Right now, it feels like the Mac is having its moment. After a series of missteps, Apple is continuing down the right path. I mean, the M3 processors, they're more of a boost over the M2 that the M2 series was over the M1. We've come a long way from Apple's earlier woes. The issue-ridden butterfly keyboards, the people that lamented the loss of the function keys and just hated the touch bar. While I do like the touch bar personally, I do appreciate the return of the row of physical function keys and that tactile experience they provide. And with all the ports built in, there's no need for an extraneous hub in most situations. Literally just yesterday, I was able to go somewhere with my Mac, plug in an HDMI cord, and use it right away. Whereas my old MacBook Pro that was just USB-C, I would need to bring some sort of dongle to make it happen. I know these changes happened in prior versions of the MacBook Pro, but I'm still feeling the benefits of them today. Apple is just continuing down that right path. After 3 months, I don't regret upgrading to this machine. I know that's not going to be the choice that everybody should make, far from it, but I'm very excited with what Apple has put out, and it makes me even more excited for the future. Apple has done its best work here, and I think the brightest days of the Mac are still coming. We're going to soon get Wi-Fi 7 this year and Thunderbolt 5. Wi-Fi 7 is supposed to be 4.8 times as fast as Wi-Fi 6E. And Thunderbolt 5 has its own improvements, including power up to 240 watts, 120 gigabits per second when a display is connected of bandwidth, and support for more external displays. There's no guarantee that Apple will include these things in a 2024 Mac lineup, but where the 2023 MacBook Pro is, it makes me even more excited for what Apple has coming. For now, I am loving the M3 Max MacBook Pro. You really can't go wrong. And at least for me, it's improved my workflow in a few important ways. And overall, it's definitely a little bit better than that M2 Max version. Let me know what you guys think of the M3 Max MacBook Pros. Do you have one? Are you interested in one? Or are you waiting to see what Apple has coming later in 2024? Let me know down below in the comments over on Twitter at Andrew_OSU or on Threads at AndrewHera941. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content coming soon. And if you are looking to pick one of these up, we have links and deals for these down below in the description. Otherwise, stay tuned. Got a lot more videos coming your way.